Crows can recognize and remember human faces. Scary facts that will give you the heebie-jeebies. Tooth in the eye surgery. Surgeons put a tooth in a blind person's eye to restore their sight. It was pioneered in the 1960s, and it actually works, and it's still being done today. Real corpses were used in the 1982 film Poltergeist. There are bodies of over 150 dead hikers on Mount Everest, and they're used as landmarks. The Turritopsis dohrnii jellyfish is officially known as the only immortal creature in the world. It lives forever. Dogs tilt their heads when you speak to them to better pinpoint familiar words. Flamingos aren't born pink. They actually come into the world with gray-white feathers and only develop a pinkish hue after starting a diet of brine shrimp and blue-green algae. Beavers don't actually live in dams. Technically, beavers live in a lodge that they build behind a dam, within a deep pool of water. The average dinosaur lifespan was surprisingly small. Football players spit so much because exercise increases the amount of protein in saliva. If you ever wake up in the middle of the night to the smell of gas, do not turn on the light. A spark from a light switch could ignite the gas. Facts that could save you. Most drunk driving deaths occur between midnight and 3 a.m. in the United States. Maybe avoid the roads during these times if you can help it. If you see a bear, you should stand tall, talk calmly, and back away, without making eye contact. In the rare case that you're attacked, you may have heard this rhyme. If it's brown, lay down. If it's black, fight back. If it's white, good night. If a brown bear attacks, you should play dead, or you'll make the attack worse. As for a black bear, which is smaller, you should fight back. A polar bear may see you as prey, so you should definitely fight back. But the odds are, not good. In 2007, 14 squirrels were arrested in Iran on charges of espionage. Random facts you need to know. Before becoming famous, the singer Pink worked at McDonald's. Every year on Valentine's Day, approximately 110 million roses are sold worldwide. In preparation for his role as Walter White in Breaking Bad, Bryan Cranston was taught by the DEA how to make methamphetamine. How does a tomato have more genes than a human? Yes, tomatoes have more genes than humans. Tomato may not look as complex as a human, but it takes around 7,000 more genes to make one than it does a human being. It has some explanations, but none of them are proven yet. Mandela effect. A phenomenon where a large group of people remember something inaccurately. One example is the false memory that Nelson Mandela died in prison, although he was released and became South Africa's president. Facts you've never heard before. Mirrors never break, they just multiply. Technically, the zoo is the only prison where all the prisoners are innocent. 8% of British teenagers believe that Sherlock Holmes actually existed. People who sing in the shower are usually the funniest in their group of friends. Elephants are the only mammals that can't jump. Blankets aren't warm, we are. The blanket simply holds the heat for us. Interesting facts that will give you chills. Facebook shut down 2 robots called Alice and Bob because they started talking to each other in their own language. Nikola Tesla built a machine with the potential to generate earthquakes powerful enough to split the earth in 2. However, the machine's schematics were said to have never been found after his death. Sharks have been around for at least 420 million years, meaning they have survived 4 of the big 5 mass extinctions. That makes them older than the dinosaurs, yet we could potentially see them extinct in our lifetime. Some scientists believe the average person eats 5 grams of microplastics in a week. That's more or less what a credit card weighs. It's widely believed that your hearing is the last sense you lose when you die. Crocodiles can gallop, yes, like horses do. There are over 250,000 deaths a year due to medical error. Scientists predict that a body submerged in deep water will be skeletonized in less than 4 days. Almost 4% of people do not have visual imagination. Their brains do not visually see things they are thinking or imagining. Their imagination works via either language, abstracts and raw emotions, or on imagining sounds and tactile input. Interesting facts science can't explain. No one can answer the last question. Cats can feel when someone is dying. A pet cat named Oscar resided in a nursing home and was believed to be able to tell when one of the residents would soon die. He'd sleep beside them until they passed. Sleep paralysis. You are awake but can't move or make any sound. Although you are trying, no one can hear you, and you may even feel a weight pushing down on you. The Chinese call this ghost pressing down on you. Why is it that when you close both eyes, you see everything as black, but when you close just one, you see nothing? Humans are the only species that drink the milk of other animals. Being born is the luckiest thing that ever happened to you, but everyone has done it. Even though our sizes differ, our fingers align when bent. No one has ever been in an empty room. Your tongue knows the feeling of licking any surface. 80% of people don't wash their hands after using the restroom unless someone is watching. The keys to your car have traveled more than it. The best liar you know isn't the best liar you know. You can't move your upper teeth. Original name for the butterfly was actually flutterby. People see you as 20% more attractive than you think you are. The shells of M&Ms are colored with the same pigments used in car paints. You can move the teeth at the bottom of your mouth, but not the teeth at the top. The color orange was named after the fruit. Before then, it was just called yellow-red. The average cloud weighs about 1.1 million pounds, which is roughly equivalent to 100 elephants. The guy who gave the location of Osama bin Laden was meant to be paid $25 million, but to this day, the U.S. government has given him nothing. Spying on others, especially humans, helps llamas learn and improve their problem-solving skills. New York State considers hot dogs to be sandwiches for tax purposes. A German man closed a whole road in Berlin without road work or emergency services. The plastic piece at the end of the shoelace is called an aglet. Will laugh out loud if you tickle them. Boeing used potatoes to test their in-flight Wi-Fi. Have you ever wondered how Boeing tests their in-flight Wi-Fi? They use potatoes. Potatoes reflect and absorb Wi-Fi signals similarly to human bodies. Brain hides your nose. Did you know that your nose is always visible to you? You can't see it very well because your brain ignores it through a process called unconscious selective attention. Random facts. The bulletproof vest was actually invented by a pizza delivery guy from Detroit, USA, after he was shot twice on the job. Boxing is the only sport in which neither the spectators nor the participants know the score or the winner until the contest ends. If a statue of a person in the park on a horse has both front legs in the air, the person died in battle, while if the horse has one front leg in the air, that means the person died as a result of wounds received in battle. It is impossible for most people to lick their own elbow. A crocodile cannot stick its tongue out. A shrimp's heart is in its head. It is physically impossible for pigs to look up into the sky. The sixth sick sheik's sixth sheep sick is believed to be the toughest tongue twister in the English language. If you sneeze too hard, you could fracture a rib. Some lipsticks contain fish scales. Cat urine glows under a black light. Like fingerprints, everyone's tongue print is different. Rubber bands last longer when refrigerated. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. Wearing headphones for just an hour could increase the bacteria in your ear by 700 times. The Voynich manuscript. This ancient book was written in the 15th century and is filled with strange writing and drawings of plants and creatures no one can identify. To this day, no one is able to understand what it means or where it came from. Piri Reis's map, created in 1513, accurately shows South America and Antarctica, even though they were supposed to be undiscovered then. This raises questions about how the map maker knew about these places if they were undiscovered at that time. Australia is wider than the moon. Random fact. Headphones can increase the bacteria in your ears. Human teeth are the only part of the body that can't heal themselves. Longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. We are more creative in the shower. The first airplane flight was on December 17, 1903. Venus is the only planet that spins clockwise. Ants on Earth weigh about the same as all humans combined. People used to say prunes when taking pictures. McDonald's serves spaghetti in the Philippines. Halloween is even older than Christianity itself. It all started as a pre-Christian Celtic festival called Samhain, which means summer's end. Held in the beginning of November, the feast recognized the last day of the fall harvest and spirits crossing over. Facts you didn't know. Canada eats more macaroni and cheese than any other nation in the world. Ancient Roman surgeons were trained to block out the screams of human pain. Game Monopoly was developed in 1930 in the USA to create a pastime for the unemployed during the Great Depression. If someone donates a part of their liver, the missing part will grow back. On average, people spend about 5 years of their lives on social media, which is set to be increasing each year. Reed Hastings, the founder of Netflix, came up with the streaming service idea after forgetting to return a rented DVD and paying $40 for it. Actor Robin Williams was passionate about video games, which is why he named his daughter Zelda. One reason that crows and ravens are associated with death is because they would often follow armies as they marched to battle. Being extremely intelligent, they realized that a large group of armed men marching in one direction meant that there would be a tasty meal to eat soon afterward. Polar bears are one of the only animals that are thought to actively hunt humans. The astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger most likely didn't die until they hit the water miles below the initial explosion. Spider silk is the strongest biological material in nature. Tears fall to show the sign of your strength, not your weakness. On average, it takes about 364 licks to finish a lollipop. The inventor of the frisbee was cremated and turned into a frisbee after he died. Leonardo da Vinci was known for writing in reverse, a skill called mirror writing. It can be read only by holding it up to a mirror. Tunguska event. In 1908, a massive explosion occurred in Siberia, flattening over 2,000 square kilometers of forest. Scientists are still unsure about the exact cause of this explosion, whether it was a comet, meteorite, or something else, and continue to investigate. Built almost 4,700 years ago, the Egyptian pyramids contain granite slabs that weigh 80 tons each, quarried 500 miles away. Even with today's tech, those pyramids would be an engineering marvel. So how did those ancient people living in the ancient desert manage it? Random facts about North Korea. North Korea, it is illegal to get your own haircut. You can only choose from the 28 government-approved haircuts. Being named Kim is not allowed. It is forbidden to be named Kim after the first head of state who has this name. International calls is forbidden. North Korea has their own basketball rules. For example, a 2-point shot in the last 3 minutes of the game is worth 8 points. Bed is a shelf for your body when you are not using it. A telephone makes sound travel faster than sound. If it weren't for movies, the average person would probably have no idea what an elevator shaft looks like. Arguing with dumb people actually makes you smarter because you have to figure out ways to explain things in a way a dumb person can understand. Someone still remembers you for a random act of kindness that you made years ago. Companies never show a drunk person in their ads. You have no proof to yourself of when you were born. You just have to take everyone's word for it. Brain-eating amoeba exists in warm lakes, rivers, and untreated swimming pools. It enters the body through the nose and travels from there to the brain to feed. Coca-Cola's color would be green if the coloring wasn't added to it. Overthinking is the art of creating problems that weren't even there. Koala fingerprints are so similar to human fingerprints that they have been mistaken at crime scenes. Squirrels help plant thousands of new trees each year by burying nuts and seeds in the ground as food caches, then forgetting where they hid them. Random facts. It's impossible to predict your next thought. You've never seen your face with your own eyes, only through reflections and photos. On average, we have 7 dreams a night, but usually we only remember 1. The type of music you listen to not only affects your mood, but also the way you see the world. The first to apologize after a fight is always the bravest. Cost of $150 billion, the International Space Station is the most expensive thing ever built. Married women were originally banned from watching the Olympic Games in ancient Greece. If they did, they were promptly thrown off a cliff. In South Korea, 2 barber poles next to each other spinning in opposite directions are used to signify a brothel. During World War II, a U.S. soldier named 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐤 was ambushed by 5 Japanese tanks. He single-handedly destroyed all 5 with a pistol and a couple of rockets for his rocket launcher. Did you know that the color, which we see when we close our eyes, is called 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐬? The longest word in English has 189,819 letters and takes about 3.5 hours to pronounce. Sleep paralysis is when you're partially awake and feel or even see scary figures, but you can't move. The country of Monaco is so small that it could fit into Central Park in New York City. Scientists have no idea what causes a dream. Also, researchers claim that you shouldn't remember your dream unless your subconscious mind wants to send a message to your conscious mind for some reason. Sudden arrhythmic death syndrome occurs when a person suddenly dies after a cardiac arrest with no discernible cause of death. So if it's not the body failure that kills us, then why do we die? In the 18th century used lead as makeup. During mummification, ancient Egyptians removes the brain through one of the nostrils. This scary process is called excerebration. Ancient Egyptians were known to insert an iron hook through the corpse's nostril to draw out parts of the brain that they would then place in a jar. Some fish have human-like teeth. What was the first person who milked a cow trying to do? Curiosities that will leave you pensive. Why does nodding your head up and down mean yes, and shaking it sideways mean no? In which language does a deaf-blind person think? 100% of the people who are alive have never died. If a cyclops closes its eye, is it winking or just blinking? If you press the brake and the accelerator at the same time, does the car take a screenshot? At what age is a person considered old enough to die of old age? If someone ever tries to grab you, scratch them. Their DNA will now be in your nails. If you accidentally disturb a beehive or wasp nest, do not run for the water. They'll wait for you to resurface and continue stinging you. Just run fast and as far as you can, because eventually they will stop following you. A machine that sets the pins at the bowling alley is extremely dangerous, so if you slide into the pins as a joke, there is a very good chance that you will be crushed to death. If you ever, for some reason, ingest windshield wiper fluid or antifreeze, drink large amounts of vodka to keep it from shredding your kidneys to give you time to get to the hospital. Humans are really bad at recharging. It takes about 8 hours charge for 16 hours of use. One of the great injustices of life is feeling the need to take a shit immediately after you get out of the shower. Graveyards are probably the least likely place to be haunted because realistically, none of the people buried died there. Sometimes hearing someone's laugh is funnier than the actual joke. Make sure you have house numbers near your front door or facing the street. Finding your house in the middle of the night is difficult, even with house numbers. Vital seconds can be lost looking for your home. When purchasing smoke detectors, consider those that have a light built in. So when the detector sounds, your path to an exit is at least partially lighted. In Japan, crooked teeth are considered beautiful and attractive. People with anxiety spend more time on their cell phones. At this very moment, someone in the world is having the best day of their life. It is impossible for you to swallow saliva more than 5 times consecutively. The world record for speeding on a highway is 372 kilometers per hour. Surveys show that most people have forged their parents' signatures at school. We feel more betrayed by a person's smell than by their appearance. The average person has 3 dark secrets that almost no one will ever know. Did you know that the great white shark existed before dinosaurs? Animal facts that will blow your mind. The lion holds the world record for the most amount of names. Alligators are the loudest reptiles in the world. Wolves can smell a human from over 2 miles away. The trunk of an adult elephant weighs 300 pounds. The blue whale's heart is so large that a human could swim through its arteries. The country that holds the most tigers is India. The average human body contains enough iron to make a 3-inch nail. Fastest land animal is the cheetah, capable of speeds up to 75 miles per hour. When we find ourselves in a frightening situation, our body can shift into the fight or flight mode, leading to an increased heart rate and faster breathing. Earth is the 3rd planet from the sun in our solar system. It takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds for sunlight to reach Earth. Decorations made from human bones adorn the interior of the 𝐦𝐨𝐬𝐞 ossuary. Interesting facts. If human remains terrify you, then perhaps you shouldn't include this Roman Catholic church in your itinerary when you visit the Czech Republic. Your bed can have up to 10 million dust mites. A person sweats around 1 cup per day. Ancient Romans believed that drinking blood would let them absorb power. Being buried alive accidentally occurred so often that people invented safety coffins. The Mutter Museum displays various mutations, tumors, and anomalies of human anatomy. Ball lightning are strange glowing orbs of light seen during thunderstorms that defy scientific understanding. They move erratically and don't conform to regular laws of physics, making their formation and behavior a puzzle for scientists. Wow! Signal detected in 1977 was a powerful radio signal from space that scientists couldn't explain. Its source remains a mystery, leaving the possibility of extraterrestrial origins open. Sitting with stupid people makes you smart. Facts you didn't know. Deaf people are known to use sign language in their sleep. Angry people are always the kindest. Bananas are radioactive. Due to being rich in potassium, every banana is actually slightly radioactive, thanks to containing the natural isotope potassium-40. In 1998, Sony accidentally sold 700,000 camcorders that had the technology to see through people's clothes. Random facts: koalas have unique fingerprints similar to humans. Overly loud people often don't feel heard at home. They feel like in order to be heard, they have to raise their voice. Your worst days are someone else's best days. We're actually all time travelers, moving forward at the same speed. If Cinderella's shoe fit perfectly, then why did it fall off? Random thoughts that will leave you scratching your head. ATM fees is when you are just buying your own money. The opposite of Microsoft Office is macro hard on fire. If you work security at a Samsung store, does that make you guardian of the galaxy? If we can't see air, can fish not see water? Can someone die in a living room? Why do they call them apartments if they are built together? If tomatoes are a fruit, does that mean ketchup is a smoothie? If oranges are called oranges, then why are lemons not called yellows? Interesting facts science can't explain. There's a place on Earth known as the Zone of Silence in Mexico where clocks don't work, radios stop functioning, and compasses spin violently when placed on the ground. Science doesn't explain why or how that happened. Savant syndrome. Some individuals with conditions like autism have extraordinary talents or abilities such as exceptional memory, remarkable mathematical skills, artistic creativity, or musical prowess. These talents are difficult to explain by current scientific knowledge about the brain. If attacked by a dog, offer your non-dominant arm and avoid eye contact. When hiking, inform someone of your plans and expected return time. If you witness someone faint, lay them down and elevate their legs to restore blood flow to the brain. If someone is bleeding heavily, apply direct pressure to the wound using a clean cloth or your hand. In case of a tornado, seek shelter in a basement or an interior room on the lowest floor away from window. If you're trapped in a car and struggling to escape, remove the headrest and use the prongs to break the window. If you're ever buried in rubble, yelling will just waste energy. Instead, grab something and start tapping in intervals of 3. Rescuers will now know where you are as they will recognize the pattern. Never stay silent when hiking in the wilderness. Bears actually prefer to avoid confrontations with humans and will keep away from you if you make your presence known. When about to get into an Uber, never ask, "Are you Uber?" Instead, ask who they are picking up. Most told lie is, "I have read the privacy policy. If it's impossible to sneeze without looking stupid." A person will spend around 25 years sleeping. The shortest complete sentence in the English language is, "I do." When we kiss someone, traces of their DNA stay in our mouth for 1 week. There are over 100 people in the USA named LOL. Yawn more often than you eat breakfast. Over the course of a lifetime, you'll yawn approximately 250,000 times, according to one expert on the subject. If you live to 70, that's about 10 yawns per day. You can't breathe and swallow simultaneously. This is because the food and fluids we swallow and the air we breathe in both travel down the same part of our throat. Did you know no one has ever died in a free-falling elevator in the U.S.? In the United States, there are more McDonald's stores than libraries. Owning a pet can help you live longer. It takes approximately 7 years for every cell in your body to regenerate. So every 7 years, you are technically a completely new person. 12% of people dream in only black and white. There are roughly 200 bodies on Mount Everest that are used as waypoints for climbers. A Japanese man married a video game character in 2009. Facts nobody knows. This guy took cuffing season to a whole other level. Sal 9000 lived the gamer's dream when he married Nene Anagasaki over livestream. Grand Theft Auto was supposed to be a racing game. Humanity received the first extraterrestrial signal in 1977. Chinese women used to bind their feet. Small feet were a symbol of beauty in traditional Chinese culture, which is why foot binding was a norm for women as early as 1243. A gamer completed the game of Dark Souls using a rock band guitar. If a power line falls next to you, do not walk or run. Put your feet together and do a bunny hop to jump and get away. This keeps electricity from traveling up one leg and out the other, which prevents you from being shocked by several thousand volts. If you ever get carjacked and they tell you to drive, crash the car into the nearby road or intersection. Most likely they won't be wearing their seatbelts. So when you crash the car, they will get injured and you you can take this chance to get out of the car and run like hell. Did you know the pool on the Titanic is still filled with water? Probably have millions of dust mites crawling on your bed right now. Sleeping on your back increases your chances of having sleep paralysis. Human skulls were used as cups and bowls in ancient England. Being in love has the same effect as being on highly addictive drugs, like and follow me to get less stupid. Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil's Triangle, remains one of the world's biggest mysteries. This infamous stretch of water between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico has been the subject of countless stories about ships and planes that vanished without a trace. Tip of the tongue moment. When you feel you know something but can't recall it. The mechanisms behind this mental lag are still unknown.